Hello. God, the mic is in like the perfect place. Amazing. Hello to my computer downstairs that's watching me. I'm gonna do an ad break since no one's here. What does it say? I'm playing Stardew Valley. Oh, well, my computer says I'm playing Stardew Valley. Whoopsies. There we go. Move that over. I'm a professional. Okay. That's correct. The stream just had to update. Need to get. Okay. Can't remember what I was going to. Oh, I was going to say I need to get a new um, Bluetooth emitter. Because like the way I run my sound is I have like a
Won't budge. Ain't gonna happen.
Bluetooth adapter plugged into my TV, and it sends a signal to my headphone, um, which is fine. It's just the Bluetooth adapter I have. I think it's dying. I don't know. It's never been like the best thing, uh, but it always emits like this like white noise in the background, and like now it was fine. Um, but now it has started like the sound has started going in and out,
Some way to open this.
and there will just be like long chunks where I like don't have any sound. Oh, that's right. I started this last time, and then um, I died.
Is that your face,
Can
or
I just be
are you
hidden?
mining it from a monkey?
No. Oh, help! Help! I have it. I don't. Don't fight the wall. Oh, he tried to grab me. He was about like if he would have grabbed me, I would have died. That's that's close. Oh my God. So I was sleeping this morning. So I have these headphones I got. I'm like a headphone connoisseur. But I got these like sleep headphones that I'm sure that you've seen advertised everywhere. They're like a headband. Um, and they're pretty comfortable. The control panel for the headphones is right in the front here, and it rests on your forehead, and it's not like the most comfortable thing. And the headband's a little tight on me. I might see if I can split it up back and add like a strip of elastic to make it a little bit looser. Anyway, however, because they're headphones. This is like the way because they're Bluetooth headphones. Whenever someone calls you, it obviously comes through headphones. And some spam number called me this morning, but I had never been called on these headphones before, so I didn't know what the ringtone sounded like. It was like the most god awful ring I've ever heard. It was like an old, like 1990s like electronic telephone ring. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like really loud and horrible. And obviously, it was like right in my ears because I was wearing these damn headphones. And it was like at like 8 in the morning. I'm like, who the fuck is calling me? Um, this was our stratagem last time that we were like sniping people. There's she. There's she. Like, oh, I'm really good at English. Um, if anyone was watching last night, you could remember that my brain was not.
Yippee-ki-yay, Slayer.
I think it's more like yippee ki yay to you. I don't know who I'm more afraid of, him or her. I assume too far. Is she gonna jump up here? I don't think they'll be able to get up here. But don't kill me. I'm gonna make some hellfire, whatever, bolts. So I don't actually use the hellfire vials for anything else. Like you're supposed to throw them at people, but the throwing of them at people is so. Why is this not? Oh, because I'm hitting B and not A. Yeah, I still have like Nintendo Switch controls. Stuck. Oh. Made some progress last night on my farm in Stardew Valley. I have the deluxe coop being built. Um, I should have got her in part. That's like zoom in on her, you know, JPEG kitty. Am I like, do I not know where the heart is? There we go. Oh, and now I got holy water bolts equipped, so that's good. I should be able to then one shot. Why is my health so low? What do I do? Those are explosive barrels. So there.
Get the point?
She doesn't look so tough.
Wow. You should explode now. Yay. Okay. I'm a professional Buffy the Vampire Slayer player.
Could come in handy.
Oh, thank God. I think there's something okay. Looks like more crossbow bolts, which I'm not going to complain about. Anyway, so Stardew Valley. I love talking about other video games where I'm playing completely different. I got the deluxe coop being built, so that's going on. Once that's built, I'm gonna work on getting a shed built that I can use to put all my like construction, but like my making things in. So, like all my kegs will go in it. All of um my preserves jars, like oh, that's just a state. So everything will go in there, and then like the outside of my farm area will just look a lot better.
I need little something to quench my thirst.
Oh crap, crap, crap! I need to jump out of here.
Got news for you, honey. You're the cute blonde that dies right at the beginning of the flick, not the clever bimbo who survives.
almost killed myself. We love it. I wonder if I can run away from them and get up high again. That might be the thing to do. Normal mode, which is what I'm playing on, is kind of hard, not gonna lie. Also, I'm drinking iced coffee this morning because I'm tired. Oh, that's right. Those aren't real boxes. Those are fake boxes. These are real boxes, which I think just has a stake in it. And I don't need it. I don't even need to use stakes anymore because I got this awesome like shock room thing. And I say this every time I play this, but they should have made a Xena Warrior Princess video game. As far as I know, they didn't, but I haven't actually researched it. That's a show I need to finish watching. I started watching it back in the early days. I mean, obviously, I grew up with it, so I had seen it, but we didn't have like cable growing up, and we just had uh, antennas, and we couldn't always get a good signal. Um, so, what am I thinking? Oh, that's right. I had such low health because he managed to get me. Um, so in the early days of Netflix, I started watching Xena, and that was back when Netflix sent you disc as well. And they had started getting. I love how that guy was just sitting there and then he dies. Um, so I watched almost every season of Xena, and then the last season you had to get on disc, and I didn't do it because I hated getting the disc of Xena, and that's my exciting Xena Warrior. Okay, so we're gonna make Hellfire Bolt. Oh, I should use this against those two instead of the bolt because you don't burn yourself accidentally when you use the super soaker. Perfect. Oh, what's up there? Oh wait, that's where I came. I go through here. Okay, so I just made a big circle accidentally. Maybe. I remember everything. Yes, I need to go this way. And that's where he. No. Yeah. Here? Yeah. Okay. We figured it out, squad. Don't worry.
The cargo appears to be intact.
I'm skipping that cutscene because I've seen it a dozen times. Alright. Oh, let's go get. Oh, let's just jump to our death. Let's just jump to our death. Love it. God. It's like my Monday. Sorry, I have like a million notifications. I sent my friend a picture of one of the posters they released for the new Shadow and Bone TV series that's coming out on Netflix, which is based on a really, really good book series by Leigh Bardugo. And apparently, I did not know this until my friend just told me. They're combining both of her series together. So she had Shadow and Bone, which is about these like magic people. Basically, I'm going to be very like basic when I describe this. But the whole world has kind of like a Russian, like Ukrainian vibe to it. Like they wear furs and it's in like the mountains and there's lots of winter and like the way they describe the world is very like Ukrainian in its design and folklore, which is cool and awesome and very different. Um, but Shadow and Bone is about this girl who grew up thinking she didn't have magic because there's like a certain cast of people that have magic. Um, so she grows up thinking she doesn't have magic, and turns out she does have magic. And her magic, because there's people that can make fire, and there's people that can control water, and then there's like people that can control like the body, and they're like healers generally. They can either be like healers or heart renders, which are like opposite of healers. Anyway, so she grows up thinking she doesn't have magic, and it turns out she does. She finds out that she can make light. She can like make sunlight, and that she's the only person like that. And the only other person with a similar power is someone called the Darken, and he can make darkness. Um, and then it proceeds from there. I don't want to get like too into it, but it's really good. There is like one the only annoying thing, and this is like kind of like my pet peeve with a lot of fiction, specifically YA fiction, but I read it in like adult fiction too. Is that she has a best friend that she grew up with her entire life, and he doesn't tell her that he loves her until she starts dating someone else, and then he's like, "Oh, I've loved you my entire life." And it's like, tell her, like, don't wait until she's dating someone else. And then I hate that trope so much, and they call it a love triangle. It's not a love triangle. The love triangle has to be where like they love each other, like in a triangle shape. But it's a really good book. The ending is like,
The cargo appears to
but
be
then
heavy, though.
Leigh Bardugo made a second series
Excellent.
called the first book's called Six of Crows,
Don't
and it takes place in like the opposite. It's the same world, but like it's another part of that world, and it's about this group of like thieves basically,
Say it.
um,
I don't want to think about what he would
and
do.
they like steal stuff, like thieves do. But it's like so good. It's like honestly, it's low key better than Shadow and Bone. Like Shadow and Bone's still great, but Six of Crows is like so fucking good. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm not gonna die. There we go. And there's this one guy, and he's the leader, and he walks with a cane. He's young, but he walks with a cane, and he always wears
Coming.
gloves and like doesn't like touch anything. And then there's this girl who's like a master like thief, and she can like sneak anywhere. Um, and there's a healer girl. Well, she's a heart render, so she's one of the people that can like control the body, but she was trained to use it in like in she's trained to use it like in attack mode. And she eventually kind of she eventually kind of learns how to use it to heal, but because she wasn't trained that way, she doesn't know to do it perfectly. She's really great. Uh, what else? But yeah, it's just that series is really great, and I think there's three of them I've read. I don't think I read the third one, but I need to. But apparently, very. I tried to make this short story and I messed it up. Anyway, there's a series coming out on Netflix, and I thought it was just going to be, the Shadow and Bone series, but no, they're actually combining them. So it's going to be like both of the book series going on at the same time, which, admittedly, is kind of how the books went. But I'm really excited because it'll be really cool. I'm nervous that it's Netflix because Netflix makes really good shows, but they don't like to keep making really good shows. Netflix's whole like premise is like, oh, we just have to make like 3 seasons and then stop because the amount of people that we bring in when we're producing new shows, like the amount of viewers we bring in producing new shows,
as they're supposed to be.
gives us more money than keeping on making the shows. I wrote a whole article about it. It was really neat. I'm explaining it poorly. Can you please like stand still? Oh, she's broken or something.
Get the point? Yippee-ki-yay, Slayer.
Oh no, she's stuck in there. Can't see it. But yeah, so that's exciting. I haven't watched like the last news show I watched. I don't consume a lot of new media. Was Sabrina, um, which I adore. And apparently, like, see, this is the thing. Like, Netflix canceled Sabrina after what season 4, and the creators of Sabrina wanted to do like another season because
Damn. To be continued.
in the comics of Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, uh, at one point her dad comes back from the dead and tries to kill her because I think in the comics he's like possessed by someone, but the show was gonna make it that he comes back and tries to kill her because he thinks she's like possessed by the devil. Bitch.
Suddenly, this just got a whole.
That's funny. I shot her through the hand, and it looks like she's holding it. I know this isn't terribly exciting, but I'm gonna die if I go down there and try and fight all of those vampires at the same time. And I'm trying to like beat this game. I hope that little orb doesn't disappear because I'd be upset.
She doesn't look so tough.
Well, he's on fire, but yeah, I don't watch a lot. Ooh, more crossbows. Did I not put these out? I don't want a lot. I don't watch a lot of new shows because like my anxiety's too great and I like can't handle it. I think before Sabrina, like the last new show I tried to watch was Harlots, and I really liked season 1 of Harlots. And then season 2 gave me a panic attack almost because they literally introduced like every plot point in the first episode. And I managed to make it through it, but it was like too much to take in like in the first episode, you know. Um, I hope someone can like relate to this. But I made it through. And I'm like, oh, that was really good. My timing's off. Um, oh, I got him with holy water. Okay, perfect. So yeah, season 2 of Harlots was kind of hard to watch because they, like I said, they introduced every plot point in the first, like literally in the first episode. I'm not exaggerating. Like every storyline was introduced in that episode. I tried to watch season 3 and they did it again, and I couldn't take it. I was like, this is too much for like my little anxiety brain to process. I had to stop. So I didn't watch season 3 of Harlots. I ended up just like reading about what happened online. Actually, I don't know if I did. Yeah, and then the door closes, and then I get attacked.
I just found my leading lady. Yippee-ki-yay, Slayer.
This is some rude shit. Oh, thank God. Okay, we did it. This is where we were getting stuck last time, and I can deal with this little boy.
You want a piece of me? I'll give you the whole damn pie.
No, don't kill me. Please don't. I don't know how that other guy died. I guess I must have beheaded him. Okay. Please let that be the end. This guy.
Let's go, Slayer.
I know that was kind of cheesing it, but those guys are like really tough. And I didn't. Let me look at my health, first of all. Please, Lord. Yeah, we got here last. I remember. Okay, so we made it this way last time, and then I had no health. I'm hoping that opening that door counts as a checkpoint. I'm not sure. I want to put the bolster at 6.
Get the point?
Oh, thank God. Oh, and they gave me help. Oh, I'm much more comfortable now. She's looking at something. She was. Oh, probably this thing. Wow, rude. It's like I'm not even doing anything to it. Like,
Here, let me scratch that itch.
ugh, the stress. Okay, I would love check. So something comes at me around this corner. Please have an elixir.
Burn,
I'll
baby,
take the
burn.
health. I was convinced that box was something because it's a brighter color than all the other boxes around it. We all know that that's how these early video games work.
Yippee-ki-yay, Slayer.
Oh God, why are you walking?
Oh, go kiss daylight.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't let her touch me because I had barely any health. The cool thing about this game is that if you have zero health, you don't just die right away. But if the vampires manage to grab you or don't have any crossbow bolts to I can combine that hellfire with the super soaker though, which is good. I'll do that. You
Slayer, come out, wherever you are.
know, no.
Give me a throat, bitch. I'll drain you quick.
This is what I'm talking about. This is like,
The difference between you and me.
why did I? Oh, it glitched. Apparently, I died. He stepped on me. He wasn't even the big vampire lady from Resident Evil. Is this yours? And I can't even see what it is. And I'm way back here. Are you freaking serious? This is a nightmare. Get more comfortable. Oh, wait. So I'm trying to think of who I fight. I fight the big guy, and then I fight 4 total vampires down there. The 3 sirens. I'm trying to like plan my strategy. I guess I'll fit. Yes, I have to fight him. That door's locked.
Kill me if you can, Slayer.
Oh, go kiss daylight. Is that your face, or are you mining it from Monkey?
There we
I feel like a new Slayer.
go. Health is okay. I need to take out those vamps in the bottom area there without just using as many bolts. That's the thing.
Son of a, get away from me!
This door. This game is like pretty tough. I must have played it on easy mode before I keep doing this. It's a light. I definitely must have played it on easy mode. And I kind of regret like, oh, I always like don't go through this door for whatever reason. I don't suppose it's here. What does flipping this switch do? Also, my sound has died on my Bluetooth adapter, so I can't even hear it. I'm full. That's why I didn't pick this up last time. Got it. Oh, okay. I didn't want to pick it up. Find it. I'm going to equip the Hellfire bolts and try and use those. Oh, I can't. I thought like Hellfire bolts didn't count towards my total amount of bolts.
Could come in handy.
I'm going to try and shoot my shot back here. See if that.
Get the point? Yippee-ki-yay, Slayer.
He's dead.
Son of a...
She's almost dead. She did. Now we switch to this, and we jump down there somehow. If I can jump down there quickly, I can get those energy balls before they disappear. I should probably use that potion. I was going to try and wait, but I think it's too dangerous to. Well, let's just stand up. Yeah, that closes. And then...
Suddenly, this just...
And then these two attack.
You want a piece of me? I'll give you the whole damn pie.
So that's all there is?
Nothing like a brisk walk and a spot of demon slaughter to make a girl's night.
And it's like, I hate that post. What supplies do I have? Crossbow bolts, blessed bolts, blessed bolts. Okay. Alright, I think we have left this area better than we have in the previous 7 attempts. Now we have to deal with the Siren Zone. I don't have any help. One of them pops up behind.
Here, let me scratch that itch.
So weird playing this without sound. Like, the sound keeps cutting in and out, but that's not the game's fault. That's my Bluetooth adapter's fault. Wow. Oh my, this is like impossible. If they do some kind of finisher to me, I'm dead. Like that. Ah, I can't change the difficulty. It's upsetting. What time is it? 11:30. Trying to think of like the best strategy to go about. The fact that the checkpoints are so far apart is like really just the icing on the cake. There's nothing in there. I wonder if I can skip that big.
Must be
Yeah,
some way to
spot.
open this.
If you find like a hellfire vial from that.
Kill me if you can, Slayer.
Oh, go kiss daylight. Is that your face or...
See, the vampires have a way to block my attacks, but I don't have a way to block, which, like, if I did, would be amazing. He didn't lay a finger on me, so that's good. There's nothing in here, right? Come through here, he gets killed. You pick up the crossbow bolts. And I remember that this time to go through the right door. Nothing in here. Then, yeah. I'm trying to think of how. I still don't know what this switch does. It does something to this thing. But, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. That's good. An extra hellfire. I thought it was like opening a door down there. Because I was thinking, like, knowing my luck, if I don't pull the switch, it won't open like a specific door I need to get. I'm gonna go back to those crossbow bolts. I'm gonna weaken them with hellfire bolts and then finish them off with regular bolts. We're gonna see because I need to reserve hellfire bolts for those sirens. They're really, really. Hellfire bolts for free. We make another set. Might save one of those hellfire files for the you know, whatever that thing's called, the super soak.
Get the point?
You're almost too pretty to kill, but not quite.
Yeah, probably right below when she moved. Yeah, I think I need to get closer to the edge. I'm worried if I'm too far back, I'll burn myself. Now I'm gonna switch. Sorry that I'm really bad at this game. I'm gonna try and finish them off. Now it's supposed to like really blow. Got him in the heart.
For the vampire who has everything.
That thank you. It's just
Damn. To be continued.
Where did she go?
Damn. She's a slippery one.
Yeah, he's not dead. Because technically vampires can breathe water. Oh, there she is. Oh, no, that's him.
She doesn't look so tough. That's it. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Son of a...
Nothing like a brisk walk and a spot of demon slaughter to make a girl's night.
I can get her with explosive barrels. That would be great. I don't see her.
Get the point? We haven't been introduced. I'm the Slayer, and you're history. Fade to black.
Oh.
Guess you wish you'd stayed home tonight.
Oh, two. I have 3 blessed bolts. I'm going to combine this with the super soaker. There's a super soaker full. I can't. Okay, the super soaker is full, so I'll make more health rifle. I'm going to equip the blessed bolts, but then I'm going to equip the super soaker and use it against those 2 big vampires that attack. And then I'll deal with the little boy vampires hand to hand, because I can fight them. Oh wait, oh, they definitely don't have a lot. So like, the fact that you can find those health crystals and increase your health is nice, but at the same time, like, you don't find enough potions to like. Let's see, I don't remember there being. Yeah, it's a state. Yeah, great. Wish I could just skip that cutscene.
Something to quench my thirst.
Need to get other good.
I'm better at my wife. You can't win, Slayer. There's only one of you.
Oh, go kiss daylight. You want a piece of me? I'll give you the heart. Oops. I did it again.
So that's all there is?
All right.
Slayer, come out, wherever you are.
I have 1 blessed bolt left
Just
too.
not my day.
All right, that went pretty smooth. I have 5 hellfire bolts to deal with the whatever they're called, siren. And then I'm gonna have to use the blessed bolts against one of those big vamps in that room. That's the thing. I'm gonna try and see if I can. So when that leather-clad vampire girl attacks me, I'm gonna see if I can use the fire that's in that corner against her. Like, I'm gonna see if I can grab her and throw her in it.
Get the point?
That one's dealt with.
That was refreshing.
No. I'm getting so frustrated. Hmm. Damn it. This was like yawn. Go down. There's nothing in there. Nothing in the fight. What's
Kill me if you can, Slayer.
Oh, go kiss daylight. Is that your face, or are you minding it for a monkey?
you deal with
Feel
him?
like a new Slayer.
Nothing in there. Go through here. This guy gets snatched. Grab the crossbow bolt. Oh wait, I always do this. I always go to the wrong person. Go to this door. Maybe. Here we are. Alright. If I don't beat this today on stream, I will. Oh, that's right. Switch. I will do it
Burn, baby,
on my
burn.
own time just to get us past this. And that was close. I have this help with it. Now this is probably really good. Maybe I should switch. Yeah, he just like fully jumped in the water there. How did I one-shot her?
He wasn't man enough for me.
Was that just... Did I just happen to like perfectly... No. I need that to happen more often. I also need this guy to stop.
Get the point?
Son of a...
Wow.
Nothing like a brisk walk in a spot
Okay.
of demon.
Whip. Actually. Whip those. Whip this. Take this down. Elixir. Okay. Now I can proceed down, kill the two big vamps. Take care of the little boy vamps. Use the blessed bolts on the annoying gay vampire. Yeah, got it.
Suddenly, this just got a whole...
I want you, babe, but not in a good way.
Lights,
Trying to.
camera, action.
Okay,
Guess
that
who
was
should
pretty
be staying
smooth.
home tonight?
No. Okay, that was slightly smooth, apart from also getting burnt by the explosives.
Slayer, come out, wherever you are.
We're
Just
getting there,
not
squad.
day.
I don't know what does more damage, the Hellfire Bolts or the Super Soaker. Super Soaker is like a steady stream. I'll make one set of Hellfire Bolts, I'll make another, I'll fill the Super Soaker. Maybe I'll use the Super Soaker against Siren. No, I don't think so. I like the bolts. Health is decent. I need to equip the Hellfire. I don't think the Blessed Bolts are doing Siren. I need to try and get my way back here to this little bridge without getting thrown off of it, because I think I could bottleneck the sirens. Yes. This is what I mean. Like, she just stands there and takes it. And I need to really be able to block.
Get the point?
No. I'm done. I'm done with this game. I'm going to run an ad a little early and figure out what else I want to play for the rest of the stream. So you don't play. Oh, did I not run the ad at all? I'm going to do it. I don't know if I did or not. Okay. I must have then. Alright. I'm not going to change the game banner yet because I don't know what I'm going to play. Play Minecraft on the PlayStation. Oh, we could do Greedfall. Genshin Impact. We love Genshin Impact. Watch Dogs Legion is really fun. I'm going to do Red Dead. Let me change all the stream info real quick. I adding these tags or removing these tags? Adventure, open world, casual. I don't know. Skip. Oh, playing remove Prime gaming benefits. Okay, I'll remember to do that. I probably won't, but let me change the game banner. Sorry I suck at Buffy, y'all. It's too late to like go back and like play every level again on a different difficulty. That have to go through so much crap, and I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna like, I don't know, maybe tomorrow morning I'll go through and maybe I'll stream it. I don't know, but I'll go through and try and play it, get past that level by myself. I feel like part of it is that I feel like on the spot, because I'm being watched. My mother sent me some picture of a jacket, and I can't tell what it is. She's like, "Is it yours?" And like, I can barely make out the fact that it's a coat. Like, I know it's a coat, but I can't see any details about it. I can't spell. How's everyone's morning going? You know, sorry, I want to finish mine. I should be getting a new book in the mail today. I've really gotten into poetry lately. I've always liked poetry, uh, but like I never knew like what to read, and I knew of Sylvia Plath vaguely, but I never read anything by her. And then I randomly read like a Sylvia Plath poem. Oh no, I remember how I discovered her. I have this deck of oracle cards, and it's called the Literary Witches Oracle cards, and it's all the cards are like different famous women in like literary histories, or like Sylvia Plath, Virginia Woolf, Jane Austen, like stuff like that, and a couple other people I hadn't heard of. No, Angela Carter's in. I really like Angela Carter. And the one day I pulled a Sylvia Plath card, and it was really interesting, and so I went and read some of her poetry, and then I bought her collected works in like a big volume, which is really nice. This is my character Lydia or Letitia. I can't remember the name. I say this. So I got Sylvia Plath's collected poems, which is really nice. And then I was Letitia. I was reading more about her, and through reading about her, I discovered Anne Sexton, which was a friend of hers, and so I ordered one of her books called Transformations, which is poems she wrote all based on fairy tales. And I love fairy tales. Fairy tales and folklore, like one of the anything based on like any kind of fairy tale, I'll read it. Oh, that's right. I got a new horse. A new horse that's actually fast. I remember. And he doesn't mind doing horse stuff. So I read Transformations by Anne Sexton. I read like 3 poems. I was like, holy crap, she's really good. So I went and bought her collected works. And that arrived the other day. And a bunch of her poems are really good. Her Kind is a really good poem by Anne Sexton, which I highly recommend. It has to do with like the witch hunts, but also just how like women are persecuted and like Chef's Kiss. It's such a good poem. All My Pretty Ones is good too. But yeah, I haven't read her collected works. So I ordered 4 books in total. I got Transformations by Anne Sexton, the complete work by Anne Sexton. I got Nights at the Circus by Angela Carter because I read her book of short stories, The Bloody Chamber, and that was really good. And those almost all of those stories are also based on fairy tales. And I just love it. And one of my favorite movies is Hello. That was weird. Did I didn't see if that happened on your screen. My screen just went black. Um, one of my favorite movies is The Company of Wolves, and it's based on like two short stories from The Bloody Chamber. One of them is called The Company of Wolves, and then I can't remember what it's called, but they're all kind of both of them are based on like Red Riding. Um, so what was it like? Two Anne Sexton books, Nice and Thurkin. Oh, and then I ordered The Bell Jar. Okay, it's not happening on your screen. My screen just goes black. Where is my camp at? So yeah, I ordered The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Ooh, way over. I started listening to the audiobook on YouTube, um, which is good. But I listened. Does this keep happening? Um, I listened to like the first chapter and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I decided that I wanted to read it. I've gone more into audiobooks lately. My favorite kind of audiobooks are the ones that are like a whole cast. Um, so like the BBC has turned several of Neil Gaiman's books into like a radio production, with, like really big name stars in it. So I've listened to their version of Stardust, which is incredible. That's like my favorite Neil Gaiman book. I just recently listened to their version of Neverwhere. It's an amazing Neil Gaiman book, and they really need to make it into a TV show. Um, what else? I listened to. They turned Neil Gaiman's Sandman graphic novels into like an audio show. Why did it happen? My screen keeps flashing black. Um, and that was really good because I've never read any of his. I liked what I knew about the Sandman, but I just never read any of them because I just didn't feel like going and tracking down all the different novels. So listening to them as an audio program was really cool, and they had a bunch of big name stars. James McAvoy was the Sandman. Um, I can't remember her name. Oh, this is gonna be like so long. The woman who plays Death was really perfect. I think her name is Kat Dennings. Is that it? I think she's in that show Two Broke Girls, but she played Death. She was really good at it. And they had a bunch of like random characters playing like small parts. It was like really good. Like Joanna Lumley, and my screen just went black. Joanna Lumley played a character. Um, she's a famous British comedian. Um, that was really cool. Another audiobook production I listened to was Tales from the City by Armistead Maupin. That was also a TV show. The books were written in the 70s. Hold on. I'm going to try and fix my shit because this keeps going in and out. That's funny because it's still present on your screen, but it's not. I don't know if this is gonna fuck up the stream, but I'm gonna unplug the Elgato, plug it back in. We'll see. That was the Elgato. This used to happen a lot more because I had downloaded the Elgato software because I wasn't actually using it for my streams because I didn't need to. Come on. And then everything's frozen. I probably just messed up the whole stream. Why did my face cam break? Yeah. Activate. Can you still hear me? The two people that are watching, one of which is my computer downstairs. So what if deactivate the Elgato? I don't know if that'll do anything for you guys though. I don't know. We'll see. What was I talking about? Oh, Tales of the City was a book series written in the late 70s. And it was a big deal at the time because, I think it was written in the 70s. I shouldn't say it that like I know it. It was a big deal at the time because it featured queer characters in like not a joke. They were just queer characters. Like a lot of the characters are gay. The main character, well, I shouldn't say she's the main character, but yes, there's a clip. The character Mrs. Magical is trans. It's presented as like a serious character and not like a joke. Um, and it's really good. I've read the first 5 books. They made it a show in the 90s, and it was a big deal. PBS made it, and it was a big deal. Republicans hated it and tried to cancel it. They actually pulled the funding from PBS so that they couldn't make it anymore. But I can't remember the names of anyone who's in it because I can't remember names. But it's really good. And then y'all might remember fairly recently, Netflix brought it back for another season. And what's his name? I can't remember his new name, but Ellen Page, who's not Ellen Page anymore. I apologize. I can't remember their new name. They were in it. Bob the Drag Queen was in it. It's a really good show. If you're any kind of queer, you should watch it. I know that the newest season and the first season are on Netflix, but the in-between seasons aren't. However, every season is on YouTube and they're pretty good quality. So I think you should, if you're any kind of queer, you should watch them because they're like really important. Olympia Dukakis. That's who plays Mrs. Magical, and she's amazing. I know nowadays we don't like it when women play trans characters, which I understand. Makes sense. However, it was the 90s when they made this, so everything's not perfect. But I think Olympia Dukakis does an amazing job playing Anna Magical. You should watch it. But I listened to a BBC production of Tales of the City. It was the first 2 books, and it was really good. And they weren't British; everyone was American. But I just thought it was funny that BBC produced it. But that was really good. So I just ramble during these streams, but I really like audiobooks that are like a whole production. Wow. Hold it. Oh, I'm all covered in mud now. That's funny. How realistic. I can listen and enjoy books that are just like a single person reading them, but I can't always absorb it, if that makes sense. I do enjoy listening to audiobooks that I have already read, like with my eyes. So like I have the audiobook of Deerskin by Robin. It's an amazing book. But I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I had heard it as an audiobook first. I do think it's one of those books that you really have to. My screen keeps going black, and I don't know what is causing this. It goes black for like 3 seconds, and then it comes back. And it used to happen a lot more when I had the Elgato software installed, and then I removed it, and it's gotten better, but it's still does it every now and then. It's only on the PlayStation. I wonder if it's my HD cord. Maybe I should get an HD cord. But I just bought these HDMI cords. Yeah. I think I have one. I think I have one lying around. So yeah, that's audiobooks. I can't think of the audiobook I'm listening to. Am I listening to an audiobook? Oh, well, like I said, I started listening to The Bell Jar, which is narrated by Maggie Gyllenhaal. And it was good. She does a good job, but I could just tell. I'm like, I think I should read this. Like, might enjoy it. So that's supposed to be arriving today. don't know if I have any. I don't think I have stuff to sell. Where's the butcher table? Oh, magnificent. Weird. Yeah, that's my take on audiobooks. I enjoy the production. If you should, production is there goes my screen again. I keep looking at my computer. Materials are
Getting
low.
a little low
Got
on supplies
it.
here.
Okay, we have to go hunting. Cool. Love it. Clubhouse says materials are low instead of just saying you have materials. I think it should just say the amount of materials. The BBC production of Stardust that's on Audible is really good. Trying to think of who's in it. Again, it's a bunch of like big name British actors. I personally can't think of anyone. I'm really bad at names, but it was really good. Neverwhere was really good. Again, James McAvoy was also in that. He played the main character. And it was really interesting hearing James McAvoy with his Scottish accent, because I feel like in every other thing that we've seen James McAvoy in, he's speaking British. Or there's that great SNL skit where he tries to do like a Jersey accent, and it's like the greatest thing. But Neverwhere was really good. I really liked Neverwhere. One of the characters in Neverwhere, one of the main characters is named Door, and is that a horse? I'm not exactly a horse. She was voiced by someone who was really big. She was in Game of Thrones. She was also in the newest Penny Dreadful show. She played like the demon lady. I haven't seen the new season of Penny Dreadful. I love it. I heard the new season was rough. But yeah, Neverwhere, really good. They should make that into a show. Speaking of Neil Gaiman shows, I'm like really afraid to watch American Gods because it looks like this is my problem when they turn books into TV shows. They try to turn them into TV shows that'll never end, and like they'll keep on going. When I think book can be turned into visual media, but I think they need to stick to like the mini series, like because they add all kinds of extra crap, they add all kinds of extra plot lines. When like if you've read American Gods, which I have, there's enough going in that book to make it a limited TV series, but they add so much extra filler. I'm afraid to watch it because I think it's gonna be full of extra fluff. I just don't want to deal with the extra fluff. However, Gillian Anderson playing the goddess, or whatever, yeah, but she's always presented in a female form. But playing the goddess Media is like perfect casting. And I like who they cast as his name Moonshadow. I've only read American Gods, and his girlfriend Emily Browning as his girlfriend is perfect. I think the casting of the show looks really good. My problem with when they turn books into media is that they add extra fluff. We need more. Oh, another thing that I've listened to on Audible, but I haven't finished because it's like literally 7 books. They took like 7 or 8 Terry Pratchett books and turned them also into like BBC radio productions. And I've slowly started listening to that. But Terry Pratchett's amazing. If you like Neil Gaiman, you should read Terry Pratchett because he's like the light side like of Neil Gaiman. Not that Neil Gaiman is like terribly dark, but he does have like a dark aura about him, and like Terry Pratchett is like the light side of him, and that's why the book, whatchamacallit, is so good. Can't think of the name. They just made a show out of it with the angels that everyone loved. They were gay. They made them gay. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm looking at my bookshelf and there's something in the way of it, and that's why I can't see it. Good Omens. That's why Good Omens was so good, because Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman wrote it together and it was perfect. And Terry Pratchett has a really funny way of writing. He'll use like play on words. What is that here? My screen went black. I can shoot it. But yeah, Terry Pratchett's amazing. A lot of his books, if not all of them, at least the Discworld books, they all take place on this world called the Disc, and it's a flat disc that's on the back of a giant turtle, Tatooine. And it's so good. And he writes these characters. My favorite characters that he writes are these witches. And there's generally two of them, Nanny Og and Granny Weatherwax. And sometimes there's a third witch, but it's generally the two of them, and they're trying to find a third witch for their coven. Why am I missing this deer? Like, I used to be so good at this game, but they're so good. What's the most recent book I read? Okay, so my screen, it keeps losing the HDMI signal. I don't know why. It must be this HDMI cord. I'm gonna have to replace it after today. I might just stop the stream today. I'm just gonna touch it. Nothing ever goes perfect. The way that the witches practice magic is really great because they generally do like folk magic, so they'll do like like realistic. Yes, they'll do like realistic ways to heal like a wound or like help someone. But every now and again, they'll do like real, actual, like tossing fireballs magic. Is it wounded? Oh, it's still. Oh, finish it off. Oh, sorry, Harriet. There's a scene in one of the books where these men are about to kill a character, and Granny Weatherwax steps in to stop them, and the guy raises his sword, and she grabs the sword by the handle, and it doesn't hurt her. And then she deals with the men, and they go back to their town because they were in the big city, and they go back to their little town. And her friend Danny Og, who's also a witch, she's like, "Oh, that was some big magic you practiced. Like, if you do big magic like that, there's a tendency that you could go dark, and you become like a bad witch." And Granny Weatherwax is like, "Well, I didn't have time to think. I had to deal with the sword." And then she sits down and she gets out a bandage and like a needle and thread and like hot water. And she's like, "But I reckon I got time now." And like the wound on her hand where she should have been hurt, it opens up. And she has to like bind it, and deal with it. And I thought that was like a really cool way because it's not like she just magically stopped the sword and didn't have to deal with the consequences. Like she did deal with the consequences, just not then. I don't know. I'm explaining it poorly, but it was a really like reading it. It was like a really great. It was a really great metaphor, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, any of his books with the witches, I really enjoy. Fucking screen! I can't like play the game. The screen keeps going down. I'm just gonna keep. Any of the books with the witches are really good. The Hogfather is a really good book. It's kind of about Santa Claus, but like not Santa Claus. But that's really good. I feel like if you've seen the movie Rise of the Guardians and enjoyed it, you would enjoy Hogfather. Also, Rise of the Guardians is based on the book series too. Well, I'm gonna miss this deer because the screen went black. Big boy. I don't think I killed him. Oh, no, I killed him. Oh, I had to skin him because he's so big. I was hoping I could put him on the back. And I read a lot of his books. Oh, one of his books, and I can't remember the name of it. Where's my Terry Pratchett book? My bookshelf is right next to me. Oh, Masquerade is really good, and that's kind of based on Phantom of the Opera. I can't remember the name of it. Where is it? I can't remember what it's called, but there's this book, and it's kind of like based on Mulan in a sense. This woman's husband is drafted into the army and disappears, and she decides to dress up as a man and join the army to find him. And turns out she's really good at it, and then she finds out slowly throughout the rest of the book that like several other men in her platoon are also women, and it's really really good. Uh, and I thought I wasn't gonna like it because it didn't have the witches in it. It was more about like normal characters, but it's a really good book. I wish I could remember what it's called. I know I have it. I just can't find it. I wonder if I lent it to someone because I don't see it on my bookshelf. I don't lend out books that often either. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I got it at a library. Imagine that, getting a book at a library. But it's really good. I haven't read a book by Terry Pratchett that I haven't liked. Same with I haven't read a book by Neil Gaiman that I didn't like. Probably the book by Neil Gaiman that I didn't love was the Graveyard Book. And because I'm not a big Jungle Book fan, I do think the Graveyard Book was cute. But like if I had to like, if someone was like, tell me a Neil Gaiman book you didn't like, I'm gonna give you $1,000,000. I'd probably be the Graveyard Book. Ooh. But yeah, the first Neil Gaiman book I ever read, can I please pick up this book here, was Coraline. Coraline is amazing. And if you've seen the Coraline movie, which is very good, you need to read the book because it's even better. It's a lot darker, it's a lot scarier. I think the movie did a really good job of translating a pretty scary book into something that would still work for kids but also be creepy. But I'm telling you, the book is like so good. And I think after Coraline, I read Stardust. And if you're a fan of like fairy tales and like real fairies and like witches, read Stardust because it's amazing. And then I read Neverwhere. And Neverwhere is really great. Neverwhere is about basically under London is like a whole other city of London where like all like the outcast and like people that have fallen through the cracks of society go. So like homeless people live there and like all this stuff, and it's really good. It's like this whole like other dark London. And this guy crosses like a guy from our world crosses paths with this girl who is like she lives there and she's like part of like the aristocracy. Like there's no aristocracy. Well, there is aristocracy in this world, but if there is supposed to be like a royal family, like she would be like the princess of this world. And she's on the run because her entire family has been murdered, and they're trying to murder her. And he ends up falling in with her, and, like getting dragged into her world beneath London, and like it's so good. Um, and if you don't like reading books, then get Audible and get the BBC production because it's damn near perfect. What's his name? Anthony Stewart Head, Giles. He's in it. Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. James McAvoy's in it. Can't remember her name. I'll just look it up here. I'm like barely playing this game. I'm just chatting. It's so good though. Natalie Dormer plays Dor. James McAvoy plays Richard Mayhew, the main character. Who plays Hunter? Hunter is another main character, and she is the woman who plays her is an actress I really like, and I can't really like the page can't be found. That's the key. Richard Mayhew is James McAvoy. Natalie Dormer's Thor. The Marquis de Carabas, who's a really cool character, is David Harewood, who I've seen in other British things. That was absolutely perfect casting, by the way. Hunter is Sophie Okonedo, who's a really great actress. She was in an episode of Doctor Who. She was most recently, I believe, in Ratchet. She's in Secret Life of Bees. She's in the Eon Flux movie. Benedict Cumberbatch, Anthony Head, um, Bernard Cribbins, who is another person who is in Doctor Who. He plays a character. George Harris, I've seen in some British things. Oh, Christopher Lee is in it. So this was made back when he was alive. He plays a really cool character. Oh, I didn't realize this. Neil Gaiman voiced a small character, but it's really great. So if you like books or like audiobooks and want something really good, listen to the Neverwhere audio. Oh, the Sandman audio production was narrated by Neil Gaiman, which is really cool. Yeah, that books. I love books. I could probably do like a whole like just chatting stream about books I like. I really want one of my favorite book series. It originally was called the Aberson Trilogy by Garth Nix, but now he's expanded it, so it's called the Old Kingdom Chronicles. But it's about these people. It takes place relatively in our world. It takes place in like 1920s ish, but there's this wall that separates like our modern world from like what's called the Old Kingdom. And like if you were to cross the wall into the Old Kingdom and had like let's say a cell phone, even though it takes place in the 20s, your cell phone would fall apart. Nothing man-made could go over there, and it's really cool. And there's these people called the Abersons, and they're like anti-necromancers. Instead of they practice necromancy, but they practice it so that they can put the dead to rest, and they fight necromancers. Oof, so good. An amazing series. Not enough people have read it. More people need to read it. It's literally like one of the best series ever. I read it, I reread it almost every year because it's just like my screen. It's like really starting to. Um, I need to replace. I wonder if it's the HDMI cord, which would be really upsetting because I just bought this HDMI cord that I'm using. But the first book is about this girl who was born in the Old Kingdom, and she's the daughter of the Aberson, but she was raised in our world. And the Aberson gets kidnapped, and she has to go across the wall and save him. And despite the fact that she knows she's from the Old Kingdom and she knows that she's his daughter, she doesn't really know anything about the Old Kingdom. And it's really good. And so that book's about her. And then the second book takes place like 10, 15 years later. She's grown up. She's a mother. And it's about, I don't want to get too spoilery, but it's about another girl who grew up in the Old Kingdom. And she's what's called a Clare, Clayr. And the Clare are these women that live in this glacier in the mountains. And they see the future. Like all of them have like the ability to see the future. It's called the sight. Um, and it comes in like flashes and like splinters, but if they gather together and combine their powers, they can use it to see like full like images and like movies basically. But this girl has never had the sight. She's like almost like 18, and generally you get the sight when you like hit puberty, and you find out later that I don't want to spoiler it, but it's so good. You have to read the Aberson trilogy. At least read the first three, because they're so good. And then he did a prequel book that takes place like 500 years before the first book. And I want to reread it. I think I would like it more if I read it the second time. I didn't really like it the first time I read it because it was so different. Like the world was so different that I couldn't really get into it. But it was really cool because it's from the point of view of someone who is morally bad. They do become a villain later. Like, what the hell is going on? I just got freaking. Oh my god. That deer just came for me. Wow. Anyway, this book called Clariel is about a girl who later becomes the villain. But we don't necessarily see her become a villain. We just see her go down the path to like maybe become a villain. I shot that deer. There's he should not have ran. And it was really cool. And then after that, he wrote a sequel, like the last. Why do I have a what's that one called? Let me see if I can find it. Look at it. I don't know if I have it actually. Oh, Golden Hand, which is a sequel to the book Aberson. It goes Sabriel, Lyriel, Aberson, Clariel, Golden Hand, and then there's another book by him that I haven't read yet called To Hold the Bridge, which is like a short novella. Um, it's about soldiers actually. It's not about any magic users, as far as I know. But that's really good. Yeah, Garth Nix is just amazing. He wrote another book called The Rag Witch, which is about this boy and girl, and the girl gets like possessed by like this evil doll. There's like a witch trapped in a doll, and she possesses the girl. That's really good, and the boy has to go save her. Oh, I guess I can't put this on my boards because I have too much stuff. Well, I'm going to try and walk my. And it's really interesting because, and they get sucked into like this magical world, and it's about the boy trying to save the girl, and the girl trying to save herself from within her own mind, while this witch is like using her body. It's really good. He also Neil Gaiman, not Neil, Garth Nix also wrote a science fiction book called Shade's Children, which I don't really love science fiction. It's very few and far between for me to enjoy science fiction. But Shade's Children was pretty good. What was that one book? Oh, he wrote a book called Newt's Emerald, which is kind of like a Regency period magic book. And that was really cute. It's about this girl that has to pretend to be a boy to get this emerald back that was stolen from her family. And it was really cute. It was very, very cute. Another really good series by Neil Gaiman. Since I'm on, or not Neil Gaiman. It's by Garth Nix. Another really good series by Garth Nix is the Keys to the Kingdom series. There's 7 books. The first book is called Mr. Monday. It goes Mr. Monday, Grim Tuesday, Drowned Wednesday. I think it's Lady Friday, Superior Saturday, and Lord Sunday. And it's about this boy who. Oh, I thought that was a wolf for a second. Because all I could see were like the pointy ears. Am I being. What is going on? The game looked really weird. It like was turning purple. I'm not gonna tell. There it goes again. I don't know what that means. Anyway. So basically in this book there is our world, Earth, and then like residing next to our world is this world called the House. And this person, this being called the Architect created the House. And they also created Earth. It's like an afterthought. And the House is like this weird world, and like there's all kinds of weird, crazy stuff going on in it. But long story short, this boy becomes the inheritor of the house. He's supposed to be the next architect, and it's about him. He has to go and get the different keys to this kingdom. And there's 7 different keys, 7 different books. It's so good. It has one of the best endings of a book I've ever read. I think that series should become. I think that book series should become a Netflix series. But if not, I think it should also become a video game. I think it'd be a really fun video game. So each book is about him going to a different trustee, because so when this architect disappeared, they gave their different keys to a different trustee, and each trustee rules a different floor in this house, which is essentially a different world. In each book, the boy has to go and get his key from his trustee, but all the trustees are like corrupted somehow, except for like one of them. Um, and so he has to get the keys back. And like all the keys are different things. So like in the first book, the keys are two hands to a clock. There's like a small hand and a big hand, and they have different powers. What the fuck? Y'all saw that, right? Like, why am I being attacked by deer? Am I missing something? Oh my god. Anyway, interrupting my talk about books. The keys in the first book are the small and big hand of a clock, and in the second book it's a pair of gauntlets. In the third book it's a trident. Um, what is the word for Thursdays? I can't remember the Thursday. Lady Friday, her key is like a mirror, like a hand mirror. Um, can't remember what Superior Saturday or Lord Sundays are, but oh, it's so good. Like, mm, mm, man, it's like it's such a good series. He meets this character in the book called Susie Turquoise Blue, and he asked her like, "Why is your name Susie Turquoise Blue?" And she's like, "Well, my first name is Susie. I didn't have a last name, and then I saw this pot of ink, and it was called Turquoise Blue, and I made that my last name." I just, like it's so cute. It's such a great series. And there's a friend of his in like Earth, and like I think in like the third book, she gets dragged into the house with him accidentally. Um, it's right. Oh, and another reason why I really like it, and I read this when I was in middle school, so I started reading them, I want to say like seventh grade, and I read them up in high school. The main character has asthma, and I have asthma, and it was really great as a kid with asthma reading a book about his character with asthma, because you don't really see that a lot. And like in the first several books, the asthma is like a big deal because he can't run, um, and when he gets upset, like his breathing, gets heavy. And I just thought that was like really cool. I mean, I imagine it's like, if you were a person in like a wheelchair or like a person with like one arm and you read a book about a character in a wheelchair, like it was just a big deal to me reading a book series. Someone with asthma. Another thing that I read recently that I adored and I can't get over how good it was The Starless Sea by Aaron Morgenstern. And one thing I really liked about that series is that the main character has glasses and wears contacts. And at one point, he takes out his contacts. He's been wearing them for like, a day and had to take them out, but he doesn't have any glasses. And it was like a problem for like a chapter where he had to like get glasses. I just thought that was really relatable because I wear glasses and contacts, and I sometimes think, well, what if I got sucked away on a magical adventure? Like I would have to, you know, either have glasses with me or like do something like it. I don't know. It was a nice little small plot point, but it just felt really relatable, especially in like a fantasy series, because I feel like normally in a lot of fantasy series the characters are always like at least physically perfect. Like maybe they have like mental issues or something, but they can always run and jump and see perfect, and you never have to deal with like glasses or asthma. And, yeah, it was cool. I'm rambling now. Doing dishes and lurking. Thank you, Renegade Banana 8. I'm talking about books while it's like casually playing this game. I was playing Buffy the Vampire Slayer earlier and I kept dying, so I've stopped. And I'm gonna be done in 20 minutes. Yeah. Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern was amazing. The first book I ever read by her, and it's where I get the title of my channel, is The Night Circus, which is amazing if you haven't read it. If you like to read, you should read The Night Circus. And what is that? Oh, a wolf. Yeah, but The Night Circus is amazing. And I was really nervous when I went to read The Starless Sea, I'm like, is this going to be as good as The Night Circus? It's the night, like, I read a lot of books. And when I finished The Night Circus, I was literally depressed because I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to read something as like amazing as this book. And I was really nervous when she wrote Starless Sea because I'm like, is this going to be as amazing as The Night Circus? And it was. It was fantastic. Hey, I thought I shot a wolf. I saw him drop. I guess he got away. That's weird. What am I reading right now? Oh, I'm reading a really good book. It's called Nevernight by I can't remember the name of the author because that's just my brain. I thought I saw a little picture. But the author co-wrote the book series The Illuminate Files, which is a science fiction series that I've read. It's one of the few that I've read and enjoyed. Damn rabbit. I not hit I didn't hit the rabbit. But Nevernight is about this girl whose family is murdered by the kingdom that she lives in, and so she vows revenge. And she spends like it happens when she's 6, and she spends like 10 years uh, training and becoming like the assassin. And it starts with her killing one of the people that murdered her family, and she murders that person and takes a token from them, and she has to use that token to get into the school of assassins. Basically, it's really, really good. Um, there's kind of queer representation. Like the girl talks about being attracted to females, so she's bisexual because she's attracted to a boy in the book, but she also talks about being attracted to this other female character. That's all I can think of, but it's really good so far. I'm curious to see how it ends because there's 3 books apparently. Damn screen. I'm glad it's not showing up for y'all, but it's really annoying. And I can't even hear anything. My damn Bluetooth adapter is dying. But yeah, Nevernight. Very, very good. I enjoyed so far. Oh, I want to talk birds. I have a to be read pile. So in my to be read pile, after I read Nevernight, I'm probably going to read a book called Red Hood's Revenge, which is part of a series by Jim C. Hines. I don't think he's written much else. But he wrote 4 books. There's no official title for them. I call them the Princess series, but they're about basically Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella, and they fight evil. And saying it like that sounds dumb, but it's really good. But in Red Hood's Revenge, they fight Red Riding Hood, who's like an assassin. And I'm not going to get into details because it's a really good book. You should read it. But Red Riding Hood has this cloak, and it's red on the outside, and on the inside it's lined with wolf fur. And when she turns it around and has the wolf fur on the outside, she turns into a wolf. And like that is so cool. I thought that was like the great like when I first read it, gosh, holy shit, this is like the best thing I've ever read. After that, I'm gonna reread the first Discovery of Witches book by Deborah Harkness because that's a really good series. And I watched the first season of the show, and I thought they did a pretty good job. They kind of sped it up a lot, which is funny because normally my gripe with shows based on books is that they add too much extra fluff. And in the Discovery of Witches show, they took some stuff out, but they didn't add anything, which is good. But they took out some stuff that I thought was kind of necessary, and I thought the casting was a bit off for like 2 people, but it was still pretty good, and I'm really excited for season 2. Then I'm going to read a book by Susanna Clark called The Ladies of Grace Adieu, which is like a book of short stories she wrote. Susanna Clark wrote the Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell book, which if you're anyone who's into fantasy, I'm sure you've heard of it. I've tried to read it twice and I could not get into it. I know they made a movie of it a few years ago. Um, but yeah, I tried to read the book twice and I can't get into it. I'm going to give it a third try eventually. But I don't know. It was kind of. I have another book called The Scandalous Sisterhood of Willow Place, which is something I picked up randomly at Half Price Books. Never heard of it. Never heard anyone else mention it, but it's about, I guess, this. I think it's about like a girls' finishing school or like an orphanage or something, and the girls like murder. Either the girls murder their teachers or the teachers get murdered, and the girls have to like fend for themselves. And then another book called Fiendish, which I don't know what that's about. I can't even remember putting it on my to-be read pile. But ooh, thanks for pulling out your gun. Sometimes my character just doesn't pull out their gun. Like right there, I missed the deer, which apparently jumped off the cliff. Oh, do you think I could bow and arrow that? Cat, don't get up. Okay, good. I'm kind of getting annoyed with this. There's like two trends in like young adult, and yes, I'm 30 and I read young adult books, so I'm happy. Um, oh, you're still alive. Did I miss? Did I miss this close? Night. Um, where either the titles are like, okay, the titles will be like a girl of glass and shadows, or a girl of starlight and bone. Um, and there's just so many books with titles like that where it's like a person of something and something. And I'm getting really annoyed with book titles like that. Or it's just like one word. Like in this case, fiendish. Or like broken. Or like bone daughter. Okay, admittedly bone daughter sounds really cool. That would probably be the book called Bone. But I don't know. Like the trend, like those two trends in like book titles I'm kind of over with. Um and I feel like it's kind of difficult. What's that? Oh, like a God, I used to be so good at I feel like for every really, really great adult, not adult, young adult novel out there, this is another deer. For anyone just joining, I got assaulted by like two deer. Like I was minding my own business, and then a buck came out of nowhere and literally attacked me. And then it happened again, like 10 minutes later, another different buck came out. Yeah, it's like for every like really good young adult book, you get like 20 really crappy ones that are just copies of each other. Um, it's like when Hunger Games came out. There was like so many books after the Hunger Games that were just the Hunger Games with different characters. It's like you know, who wrote Hunger Games? Susanna Collins or something. But she was like, yeah, you can copy my work, just change it up a little bit. Like I'm sure she didn't say that, but it's like people just copied the Hunger Games and changed like two things about it. It was just really annoying, and that happens a lot with like young adult fiction. And I don't just read young adult fiction, but I feel like a lot of the books I read are like between young adult and adult fiction. I don't know what that's called, but that I think is like a lot of the books I read. Okay, but yeah, because I feel like the books I like most are books that grow with the reader. So like, I don't know if I have it on this bookshelf, and I can't remember the author's name all of a sudden. but there's this really good series called the Magic Circle. Like there's 4 books in the first series, and it's called the Magic Circle, and then there's a sequel series of another 4 books called The Circle Opens. And Tamora Pierce, that's who wrote them. And those books are really great because they grow with the reader. So like you start reading them when you're like, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade, like 12, 13, and like as you grow up, the characters in the book grow up. And I've only read like the first 2 series, but apparently she continues to write these characters well into their 30s, and like they deal with like really like grown up things like PTSD and anxiety, rape. I think one of the characters goes blind or something. Uh, and it's really great. And I was reading all about them, and they're supposed to be really good. So I want to reread the first 2 series and then read more into the sequel books that she's written. But I really like books like that where you read it as a kid and you can keep reading it into your like adult life, because I think that stuff is really fun. Harry Potter is pretty close to that. I mean, they're still high school students at the end of it, but they deal with like adult themes. Um, Another book series I really like that's really kind of silly, but it's meant to be silly, but it's really fun. It's by Gail Carringer, and she writes these like steampunk novels, and I love steampunk stuff. But she wrote a series called Soulless, which is about Victorian London, but like ghosts and werewolves and vampires are like a thing, and like people know about it. And the character that you read as is she has no soul. Um, and what that means is that so to become a vampire or a werewolf, you have to be bitten by one, but you have to have like an excess of soul in order to become one. If you don't have like extra soul, you just die. Um, and the character you read as, whose name I can't remember, she has no soul. So what happens is if she touches a vampire or a werewolf, they become human while they're touching. It was really interesting. Um, and you find out that her father was the same thing. And when 2 soulless people are next to each other, it's like magnets of the same polarity. Like they can't be close to each other because they like repel each other. And that's why her father disappeared, because he couldn't be around her. And then later in the series, she has a baby with a werewolf. I don't want to get too into it because it's a really cute like fantasy like fun series to read. It's not terribly like serious. But she has a baby with a werewolf, and they're wondering like, is the baby going to be like her, and that means she can't be around it or whatever. And it turns out her baby, instead of her, where when she touches vampire or werewolf they become human, when the baby touches a vampire or werewolf, the baby becomes whatever it is. So the baby becomes a werewolf or a vampire. And it's really interesting. She wrote a sequel series about the baby as like an adult or like a young lady, and I haven't read it yet. But the series by Gail Carringer that I adore is a prequel series about a character. I can't remember her name. Oh, Sophronia. That's her name. Sophronia. They call her Sophia for short. But it's about a character who goes to this finishing school for young ladies, and they learn how to finish people, aka assassinate them. And it's all about her learning to become like the Victorian lady spy slash. Oh, that was my camp. My symbol didn't pop up. And that series is so good. It's so good. I really really enjoyed. My character just vibrating. My character isn't vibrating, but my controller is just vibrating for no reason. It'd probably help if I could hear. But yeah, so that series is called, the first one I believe is called Etiquette and Espionage. And like, if you like steampunk books and like Victorian London and stuff like that, I highly recommend you read that series because it was really, really cute and really fun. There's 4 books in total. Um, the main character is straight, but there are other queer characters. There's like a lesbian character she meets. And I'm queer, so I like reading books with queer characters, but it's a really cute series. Yeah. What else can I recommend? Oh, not. I believe her name is Stephanie Meyer wrote whatchamacallit, right? Yeah, Stephanie Meyer wrote Twilight. Marissa Meyer, a different author, wrote a book called Cinder, and it's like a futuristic Cinderella. Uh, and that series is amazing. Um, there's Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter, with a novella in the middle called Fairest. But they're all about fairy tale characters, but like in futuristic space, and it's so good. Um, it's amazing. Um, I could go on and on about that series, but like I'm gonna run those. But yeah, that's a good. If you like fantasy and sci-fi, Screen with Black. That's a really good series. Highly recommend. I believe she's also has a graphic novel that takes place in the same universe. I haven't read that. I think that would be a really good video series as well. I think more books should be turned into
Supplies are running down fast.
oh, I could talk about so many books. The Blue is for Nightmare series is really good. The author's last name is Stolarz, Stolarz. I read that in high school. I want to reread it, but I think there's 2 more books in the series. I read the first 3. Um, oh man, Sandra Clare and her entire, like literally, I'm looking at my bookshelf over here. One whole shelf is just like Sandra Clare books because she's written so many. Um, but that whole series is really good. And again, that's a series that generally grows with the reader. Most of the characters like high school age, but I think the newest series they are a little bit older. But that's just a really good, really really good series. And there's lots of queer. Like as the books continue, there's more and more like queer representation because there's a trans character later on. There's also like more representation of like people with like disabilities and like mental health. There's a character in one of the books who has he's on the autism spectrum, and that was really cool. There's a throuple later on, so 3 people in a relationship together, and that was amazing. Like they were hinting at it. She was hinting at it the entire book, and then she did it in like the second to last book, and I was like, thank God. And I texted my friend because we were reading it. I just texted her and I said, throuple. And she's like, oh my God, it happened. It was really good. But anything by Cassandra Clare is generally pretty good. Charles D. Lint, he's another one of those authors that's like, I guess he's adult fiction, but he writes these several books that take place in his made-up city called Newford. And I'm just going to put this in Basecamp because I'm talking about books. And it's like urban fantasy. So it's like a big city. Imagine like I don't want to call it like a New York style city. It'd be more of like, crap, I hate Pittsburgh, but like Pittsburgh or like Portland, like a very like bohemian, like artsy city. But there's also like fairies. And it's so good. Like it's, ooh. Mm. I just read one of his books. It was called Green Mantle. And it was like, Native American spirituality and like spirits and folklore mixed with like Irish folklore and like Native American spirits fighting Native American spirits and like fairies and stuff fighting like Irish fairies and stuff. Essentially, that's like a very bare bones description of it, but it was so good. It was so good. It was really interesting reading all of that like folklore and stuff. Um, The Blue Girl was the first book I ever read by Charles D. Lint, and it's about this girl who is back to her hometown, and her imaginary friends like come back, and they're real. That was really good. Um, the Onion Girl is really good. If you want to read something of his but don't want to get too invested, I would recommend Dreams Underfoot because it's all short stories. They all take place in that made-up city of Newford, and it's amazing. And one of the short stories became The Onion Girl. He wrote it for Dreams Underfoot, and then he expanded it and made it into The Onion Girl, which is really good. Spirits in the Wire was really good. I read that before Green Mantle, and that's about like fairies and like ghosts in the internet. It was really interesting. And it had to do with like, oh man, it's so hard to describe. But it was about like the internet becoming its own like sacred space of a sense and like creating its own like magical world. Um, and it was really, really good. Charles D. Lynn is a really good author. But yeah, I love him. I can't remember. I have another book called Forest of the Heart, and I don't think I've read that. But that's another really good one. But I'm gonna go. Sorry this gaming session was kind of weird, y'all. Um, Buffy is just proving to be a little bit more difficult, or maybe I'm just dumb. And yeah, and then I just got distracted talking about books, which is fine because I like talking about books. Oh, another really good author, Robin McKinley. I could go on and on about her, but she writes a lot of books based on fairy tales, so I recommend Beauty, Rose Daughter, Deerskin. Deerskin has to deal with some heavy stuff like rape, but if you can get past it, it's really good. Um, Spindle's End is based on Sleeping Beauty, so I would read that. Yeah. Uh, oh, Maggie Stephader too. She wrote the Raven Cycle series, but you should read that. I'm gonna go, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow night with American McGee's Alice, and that I've tested it and it works fine. So I think there's something wrong with the HDMI cord that I use in my PlayStation, so I'm gonna have to replace it. It didn't affect your screen, but my screen kept going black. I'm going to try and fix that, and I'm gonna try and play Buffy on my own to get past the level we're stuck at, and we'll just continue from there. And if I keep getting stuck, then maybe I'll just stop and we'll play something else. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do Blood Rain next week. It seems like no one cares. I might just move on to Blood Rain 2, which is more fun. I don't know. Part of me wants to play games that people want to watch and interact with, and the other part of me just wants to like play whatever I want because no one seems to really pay attention anyway. Anyway, bye everyone.